So as I was preparing and praying and what to share with you guys, because things come in mind, but you don't want to share what you think. You don't want to miss the mark. And so I was really praying, and so God brought something to my remembrance, and He put in my spirit about when things get hard, and it's kind of cool how all that came together. But things get hard, Sometimes a Christian walk gets hard. Sometimes ministry gets hard. There's no sometimes about it. It gets hard, and so I'm like, okay, I'm like, okay, God, and I'm like, well, I need some scripture, and I need, show me somebody in the Bible, because everybody in the Bible had opposition. Everybody went through something hard, and so we're going to talk about somebody that's very familiar to all you guys. But he brought Esther to mind, and I'm kind of like, huh, but as I got to studying and got going, so I hope I portray this the way God has given it to me. So, but anyway, so we all know the story of Esther, right? Esther she lived with her uncle, and her parents had passed away, and her uncle raised her, and she was a Jewish girl, and living in Susa. And the king had brought everybody together in the land. He had this big old giant party, and so they were all doing party things, and so the king decided to command the queen to come out in front of everybody. He wanted to show her off, and she said no, and she didn't come out. And I've always wondered, because we know that she was not queen anymore because she said no. But I was kind of wondering what happened to Queen Vashti, because you don't tell the king no and just go on. So I always wondered, was that it for her, or but anyway, so as we know, the king looked for a new queen, and so his advisors told him, let's get all the maidens in the land, let's bring them in, let's prepare them, let's get them all set for you, and then you pick. And so he picked Esther, and whose name, by the way, her Jewish name was Hadassah. And then because her uncle told her, it's not very wise when you get in the palace to let them know that you are a Jew. And so he said, don't let them know. So he changed her, told her to go by Esther. So the king picks Esther. I'm kind of really paraphrasing, going through kind of what I want to pull out here. But, so Esther's queen. Esther's got a great life now, right? She's got everything she possibly needs. She's queen. She's, when we're all little girls, right? We dream maybe not dream, but, think it's pretty cool to be a princess or a queen, and we kind of find that stuff fascinating. And, she had a life of luxury, right? She was things were going great. She had, she didn't want for anything. She had people at her beck and call. She had all the clothes, perfumes, everything she could possibly imagine. Life was great. It was good. So let's go to Esther chapter 3, and we're going to jump in kind of in the middle of all this. And we're going to start with verse 1. And for some of these names, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce them very well, so I'm sorry. But Esther chapter 3, verse 1, it says, after these things, King Ahasuerus promoted Haman the Agagite, son of Hammedatha, and advanced him and set his throne above all the officials who were with him. And all the king's servants who were at the king's gate bowed down and paid homage to Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him. So Haman was somebody very high in the kingdom, and the king, like we just read, the king told everybody, you pay homage to Haman, you bow down, you acknowledge him, you give him his honor. But Mordecai did not bow. Now Mordecai is Esther's uncle. I don't know if I said that was his name, but that was Esther's uncle, the one that raised her. And it says, but Mordecai did not bow down or pay homage. Then the king's servants who were at the king's gate said to Mordecai, why do you transgress the king's command? And when they spoke to him day after day, he would not listen to them. And they told Haman in order to see whether Mordecai's words would stand, for he had told them that he was a Jew. So he said, look, I'm a Jew. I only bow down to God. I don't bow down to no man. Not going to do it. And, goes against the word and, not going to do it. And how many of us know, like Pastor Brian addressed, we are to obey the laws of the land unless it goes against the word of God. So he made that stand. He held that line. And starting at verse 5, and when Haman saw that Mordecai did not bow down or pay homage to him, Haman was filled with fury. But he disdained to lay hands on Mordecai alone. So as they had made known to him the people of Mordecai, Haman sought to destroy all of the Jews. The people of Mordecai throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus. In the first, verse 7, in the first month, which is the month of Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, they cast that is, they cast lots before Haman day after day, and they cast it month after month until the 12th month, which is the month of Adar. Then Haman said to King Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the peoples and all the provinces of your kingdom. Their laws are different from those of every other people, and they do not keep the king's laws. So it is not to the king's profit to tolerate him. If it pleases the king, let it be decreed that they be destroyed, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver into the hands of those who have charged the king's business, that they may put it into the king's treasuries. So the king says, okay, and so he took his ring from his hand and gave it to Haman the Agagite, son of Hammedatha, the enemy of the Jews. And the king said to Haman, the money is given to you, the people also, to do with them as it seems good to you. So Mordecai went and bowed down to Haman, so Haman got upset. And so instead of just dealing with instead of just dealing with Mordecai, Haman's like, I'm just going to take out your entire people. I'm just going to kill them all. And so, now Haman was very deceitful here. He didn't tell the king the truth. He just says they're not abiding by your laws, and, just kind of did some shady things there. And so the king's like, well, okay, they don't abide by my law. Yeah, let's wipe them out. Let's kill them all. Now, remember I told you Queen Esther is a Jew, right? So the king just signed the decree that all Jews, doesn't matter who you are, they're going to die. They're going to kill them all. So, if we go down to chapter 4, and we're going to start in verse 5, Mordecai goes and tells Esther about the plan that he has heard of Mordecai. No, I'm sorry. Good grief. I'm sorry, I'm nervous. No, good grief. Mordecai tells Esther the plan of Haman to kill the Jews. So down in verse 5. Then Esther called for Hathach, one of the king's eunuchs who had been appointed to attend to her, and ordered him to go to Mordecai and learn what this was and why it was. So when back a few verses up, when Mordecai heard of Haman's plan, he tore his clothes, and just tore his clothes and prayed, and just, because he knew what that meant, that Haman was going to kill everyone. So Esther saw all this, and so she sent a servant to find out what was going on. So Hathach went to Mordecai in the open square of the city in front of the king's gate, and Mordecai told him all that had happened to him and the exact sum of money that Haman had promised to pay in the king's treasuries for the destruction of the Jews. Mordecai also gave him a copy of the written decree issued in Susa for their destruction, and that he might show it to Esther and explain it to her, and command her to go to the king and beg his favor, and plead with him on behalf of her people. And Hathach went and told Esther what Mordecai had said. So now Mordecai's telling Esther, it's up to you. It's now fallen on your lap. We're all going to die if you don't do something. So she's living this perfect life. Everything's great. Things are going great. Not really a care in the world. And now we're all going to die. And it's up to me to save us. So, I think it got hard. I think things kind of really changed for her. And so I'm going to go on a little bit more, and then I'll explain some more things. But going down to verse 10. Then Esther spoke to Hathach and commanded him to go to Mordecai and say, All the king's servants and the people of the king's provinces know that if any man or woman goes to the king inside the inner court without being called, there is but one law, to be put to death, except the one whom the king holds out the golden scepter so that he may live. But as for me, I have not been called to come into the king these 30 days. So she told him, go tell Mordecai, there's nothing I can do. It's out of my hands. If I go in without being called in, he's going to kill me. And so we're still all, no hope for any of us. We're still all going to die. So what if our story stops there and she doesn't do it? And that's just what happens. Okay, so let's read on. And in verse 12, and they told Mordecai what Esther had said, and Mordecai told them to reply to Esther, do not think to yourself that in the king's palace you will escape any more than all the other Jews. For if you keep silent at this time, relief and deliverance will rise for the Jews from another place, but you and your father's house will perish. And who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this. So, Mordecai tells her, look, if you don't do it, we're going to die. You've got to go in there and do it. And if you don't do it, somebody else will. So, God will send somebody else to deliver us. Maybe not right then and now, but he'll send somebody else down the line. Either way, you're still going to die. And so he's like, and who knows, maybe this was why you were sent to the palace. Maybe this is why you were chosen. So again, I ask, what if she wouldn't have done it? What if she would have said, it's out of my hands, it's all I can do, he's going to kill me anyway? You saw what happened to Vashti. I can't do it. So now she has a choice to make. So either she can say, that's it, I can't do it, or I can trust my God, and things are hard, but I can trust him to help me get through. And so let's go down to verse 15, and then we'll go on a little bit more. So Esther told them to reply to Mordecai, go gather all the Jews to be found in Susa, and hold a fast on my behalf, and do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. And I and my young women will also fast as you do. Then I will go to the king, and though it is against the law, if I perish, I perish. So she decided, it was hard, and she decided she had a choice to make, and she was going to do it. She was going to go into the king and tell him the evil plan, and if she died, she died. And I'm sure that was hard. I'm sure that, hence the fasting and the praying, and, the Bible says only some things come by fasting and praying, and so she had the people pray with her and seek, God's direction and favor, and she did the same thing, and she prayed, and I'm sure, prayed very hard, and so we know how the story goes. They fast and pray, she goes in, he's like, well, hello, and lets her in and tells of the, Haman's plan, and the end story, the king kills Haman, Jews live, and I don't mean to make light of any of that, but it got hard, and she made that choice to keep going, to keep praying, and she went in with, she didn't know how it was going to turn out. She went in with that blind faith that God was going to take care of her, and God was going to take care of her and her people. And so I looked up the definition of blind faith because I wanted to get the right thing. And it says that blind faith is having complete confidence in someone or something without any reason to do so. So she had complete confidence that God was going to take care of her. She didn't have any reason to have that blind faith because she knew what the law was. The law was if she went in there, she was going to die because she hadn't been called in there. But she went in with that blind faith, and she trusted God. And she didn't stop with what God had called her into the kingdom. He called her to be queen, and she didn't stop with that. God had also called her to save her people and to save the Jews. And so, another point that I want to make is, Mordecai says that if you don't do it, somebody else will. We've learned when we watched that series, I believe it was called, by John Bevere, that we all have a calling on our lives, and God has things that only we can do. And if we have that choice, whether we're going to, go all in and we're going to do it, even if it gets hard, or not. And if we don't, then God will find somebody else that will, somebody else that'll say yes. And I don't know about you, but and this has always kind of sat with me. Even in my work life and other things, I don't want somebody else to have to do something that I was called to do, that I was asked to do, because I refused to do it because it was too hard. And that has always kind of sat with me, and I just, so it's even more so. It's way even more so with the Lord. I don't want to be the one when I stand in front of Him and Him be like, this is what I called you to do, but you said no. It even crushes me now thinking about it. So I just want to encourage you that when it gets hard, keep pressing, keep going, keep pressing through, because like Pastor Brian was saying, you don't know what's on the other side. And God has, He has told us time and time again that He is with us. And, in 1 John 4:4 says, He who is in us is greater than anything that we could ever face. And also, when something that came to mind, I'm going to go off on a little bunny trail here. But how many of you seen that movie, Facing the Giants? And there's a big scene that's been used 108 times. I've even used it with the drama team. But every time it just speaks to me, every single time. And matter of fact, even Reese's summer school teacher played that scene to the kids in summer school, telling them not to give up. But I thought that was kind of funny. If they had watched the whole movie, maybe they may not have shared that. But I'm going to go, if you haven't seen it, I'm going to try to go really quick. But this scene, it's called the death crawl scene, and it's a football team, and they're out there in their practice, and the coach gets this guy, he's the captain of the team, and he tells them to do a death crawl. And a death crawl is when you're on your hands and your feet, your knees aren't touching the ground, your behind's up in the air, and you're just, you're crawling. And so he tells them he wants him to death crawl to the 50-yard line. And so the guy's like, okay. And he goes, but I want you to do it with so-and-so on your back. And so he's like, okay. Now he's down, he's on all fours, and he's got whatever this kid's name is. So he's on his back. Now he's not sitting on his back. They're like back to back. So he's laying on his back, his feet are up in the air, and his feet are down here, if you can kind of imagine that. And so they're like, and then he blindfolds him. The coach blindfolds the guy, and he's like, what are you doing? Why are you blindfolding me? And he said, because I don't want you to see where you're going, and I don't want you to quit when you think you're done. And so the guy's like, all right. So he gets going, and he's going. The coach is walking right with him. He's telling him, come on, you can do it. Come on, you can do it. And it's very intense, and I'm not doing this scene the justice that it is, because it just brings me to tears every time I see it. And he's just going with him. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. And so the guy's asking, where am I at? Am I at the 20-yard line yet? And he's like, it doesn't matter. Keep going. Keep going. And so he asks again, am I at the 30? And he's like, it doesn't matter. Just keep going. Keep going. Give your very best. Just keep going. Try. And so he does, and he keeps going. And now, the pain's starting to set in. It's gotten hard, and he's struggling for a minute. And matter of fact, he even kind of stops, and the coach is like, don't you dare stop. And he's like, I'm not stopping, I got to rest for a second. And he's like, no, don't you rest, you just keep going. And so he keeps going, and he's like, and it hurts. And he goes, I know it hurts, but you can do it, keep going. I know it hurts, I know it's hard. And so he keeps going, and he makes it, and so he finally just drops of exhaustion. And the coach is right. I mean, the coach gets on the ground. He's right there in his ear. You do it. You can do it. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Don't give up. Keep going. And so finally he just gives up with exhaustion. He's like, did I make it to the 50-yard line? And the guy's like, take off your blindfold. You're in the end zone. So he went the entire football field. The entire football field. And that brings me to tears because when things get hard, God is right there. Don't you give up. Don't you stop. You keep going. It's hard. I know it's hard. It hurts. I know it hurts. But you can do it. I am with you. You can do it. And that just, even kind of bringing me to tears now. But every time I see that, I just think of that as, the voice of God in there. And, and I'm sure, God was there, right there in Esther's ear. You can do it. Go do it. Trust me. Just go. It's hard, but all you got to do is go, and all you got to do is give your very best. And so, anyway, so the guy makes it to the end zone. Esther makes it in, and she saves her people. And both were very hard, very, very hard. I didn't even think I could make it like a half a yard with somebody on my back. I don't know if I could even get down into the death crawl stance. But they did it. They just gave their best, and they did what God had commanded them to do. And, in Isaiah 41:10 tells us, fear not, for he is with us. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you, and I will uphold you with my righteous hand. And so there it is right there. I'm with you. I will go with you. I will help you. But we just have to go, and we have to give our best, and we have to, because if we don't, if we choose to give up, and we choose it so hard, somebody else is going to come in. That God just doesn't go, well, that was the end of that, I got to find a new plan. It just doesn't happen. And, and then we can even put it as far as this church. That's what this church is here for. He's called us for that. He's called us to do things that not others would do. And he's telling in our ear, and he's said it many a times, he is with us. I am with you, but all you got to do is go. Give your best and go, and I am with you. And so I just want to encourage you that don't give up when it gets hard. And it does get hard. My goodness, it gets hard. But he's with us. And, and he can give us strength. He can give us supernatural strength that you can't even imagine to do the things that he's called you to do. He doesn't call you to do something that he doesn't equip you for. And then of course, very familiar verse, Jeremiah 29:11. He knows the plans that he has for us, and they're not plans to harm us or to hurt us, but they're plans to give us a future and a hope. So if you get anything from today, I just want to encourage you, keep pressing, keep going, give your best, just keep going. It'll get hard, but it'll be worth it.